The Family of Little Feet. There was a family. All were little. Their arms were little, and their hands were little, and their height was not tall, and their feet very small. The grandpa slept on the living room couch and snored through his teeth. His feet were fat and doughy like thick tamales, and these he powdered and stuffed into white socks and brown leather shoes. The grandma's feet were lovely as pink pearls and dressed in velvety high heels that made her walk with a wobble, but she wore them anyway because they were pretty. The baby's feet had 10 tiny toes, pale and see-through, like a salamander's, and these he popped into his mouth whenever he was hungry. The mother's feet, plump and polite, descended like white pigeons from the sea of pillow, across the linoleum roses, down the wooden stairs, over the chalk hopscotch squares, 5, 6, 7 blue sky. Do you want this? And gave us a paper bag with 1 pair of lemon shoes, and 1 red, and 1 pair of dancing shoes that used to be white but were now pale blue. Here! And we said thank you and waited until she went upstairs. Hooray! Today we are Cinderella because our feet fit exactly, and we laugh at Rachel's 1 foot with a girl's gray sock and a lady's high heel. Do you like these shoes? But the truth is, it is scary to look down at your foot that is no longer yours and see attached a long, long leg. Everybody wants to trade. The lemon shoes for the red shoes, the red for the pair that were once white but are now pale blue, the pale blue for the lemon, and take them off and put them back on and keep on like this a long time until we are tired. Then Lucy screams to take her socks off. And yes, it's true. We have legs. Skinny and spotted with satin scars where scabs were picked, but legs. All our own. Good to look at and long. It's Rachel who learns to walk the best, all strutted in those magic high heels. She teaches us to cross and uncross our legs, and to run like a double Dutch rope, and how to walk down to the corner so that the shoes talk back to you with every step. Lucy, Rachel, and me teetottering just so, down to the corner where the men can't take their eyes off us. We must be Christmas. Mr. Benny at the corner grocery puts down his important cigar. Your mother know you got shoes like that? Who gave you those? Nobody. Them are dangerous, he says. You girls too young to be wearing shoes like that. Take them shoes off before I call the cops. But we just run. On the avenue, a boy on a homemade bicycle calls out, Ladies, lead me to heaven. But there's nobody there but us. Do you like these shoes? Rachel says yes, and Lucy says yes, and yes, I say, these are the best shoes. We will never go back to wearing the other kind again. Do you like these shoes? In front of the laundromat, 6 girls with the same fat face pretend we are invisible. They are the cousins, Lucy says, and always jealous. We just keep strutting. Across the street in front of the tavern, a bum man on the stoop. Do you like these shoes? Bum man says, Yes, little girl, your little lemon shoes are so beautiful. Come closer, I can't see very well. Come closer, please. You are a pretty girl, Bum man continues. What's your name, pretty girl? And Rachel says, Rachel, just like that. Now you know to talk to drunks is crazy, and to tell them your name is worse. But who can blame her? She is young and dizzy to hear so many sweet things in one day, even if it is a bum man's whiskey word saying them. Rachel, you are prettier than a yellow taxi cab, you know that? But we don't like it. We got to go, Lucy says. If I give you $1, will you kiss me? How about $1? I give you $1. And he looks in his pocket for wrinkled money. We have to go right now, Lucy says, taking Rachel's hand because she looks like she's thinking about that $1. Bum man is yelling something to the air, but by now we are running fast and far away, our high-heel shoes taking us all the way down the avenue and around the block, past the ugly cousins, past Mr. Benny's, up Mango Street, the back way, just in case. We are tired of being beautiful. Lucy hides the lemon shoes and the red shoes and the shoes that used to be white but are now pale blue under a powerful bushel basket on the back porch until one Tuesday her mother, who is very clean, throws them away. But no one complains. A rice sandwich. The special kids, the ones who wear keys around their necks, get to eat in the canteen. The canteen. Even the name sounds important. And these kids at lunchtime go there because their mothers aren't home, or home is too far away to get to. My home isn't far, but it's not close either, and somehow I got it in my head one day to ask my mother to make me a sandwich and write a note to the principal so I could eat in the canteen too. "Oh no," she says, pointing the butter knife at me as if I'm starting trouble. "No, sir. Next thing you know, everybody will be wanting a bag lunch. I'll be up all night, cutting bread into little triangles, this one with mayonnaise, this one with mustard. No pickles on mine, but mustard on one side, please. You kids just like to invent more work for me." But Nenny says she doesn't want to eat at school, ever, because she likes to go home with her best friend Gloria, who lives across the schoolyard. Gloria's mama has a big color TV, and all they do is watch cartoons. Kiki and Carlos, on the other hand, are patrol boys. They don't want to eat at school either. They like to stand out in the cold, especially if it's raining. They think suffering is good for you ever since they saw that movie 300 Spartans. I'm no Spartan and hold up an anemic wrist to prove it. I can't even blow up a balloon without getting dizzy. Besides, I know how to make my own lunch. If I ate at school, there'd be less dishes to wash. You would see me less and like me better. Every day at noon, my chair would be empty. "Where's my favorite daughter?" you would cry. And when I came home finally at 3 p.m., you would appreciate me. Okay, my mother says after 3 days of this. And the following morning, I get to go to school with my mother's letter and a rice sandwich because we don't have any lunch meat. Mondays or Fridays, it doesn't matter. Mornings always go by slow, and this day especially. But lunchtime came finally, and I got to get in line with the stay-at-school kids. Everything is fine until the nun who knows all the canteen kids by heart looks at me and says, "You, who sent you here?" And since I am shy, I don't say anything, just hold out my hand with the letter. "This is no good," she says, "till Sister Superior gives the okay. Go upstairs and see her." And so I went. I had to wait for 2 kids in front of me to get hollered at. One because he did something in class, the other because he didn't. My turn came, and I stood in front of the big desk with holy pictures under the glass while the Sister Superior read my letter. It went like this. "Dear Sister Superior, please let Esperanza eat in the lunchroom because she lives too far away and she gets tired. As you can see, she is very skinny. I hope to God she does not faint. Thanking you, Mrs. E. Cordero." "You don't live far," she says. "You live across the boulevard. That's only 4 blocks. Not even. 3 maybe. 3 long blocks away from here. I bet I can see your house from my window. Which one? Come here. Which one is your house?" And then she made me stand up on a box of books and point. "That one?" she said, pointing to a row of ugly 3-flats, the ones even the raggedy men are ashamed to go into. "Yes," I nodded, even though I knew that wasn't my house, and started to cry. I always cry when nuns yell at me, even if they're not yelling. Then she was sorry and said I could stay, just for today, not tomorrow or the day after. You go home. And I said yes, and could I please have a Kleenex? I had to blow my nose. In the canteen, which was nothing special, lots of boys and girls watched while I cried and ate my sandwich, the bread already greasy and the rice cold. Chanclas. "It's me, Mama," Mama said. I open up and she's there with bags and big boxes, the new clothes, and yes, she's got the socks and a new slip with a little rose on it and a pink and white striped dress. What about the shoes? I forgot. Too late now. I'm tired. Whew. 6:30 already, and my little cousin's baptism is over. All day waiting, the door locked, don't open up for nobody, and I don't till Mama gets back and buys everything except the shoes. Now Uncle Nacho is coming in his car, and we have to hurry to get to Precious Blood Church quick, because that's where the baptism party is, and the basement rented for today for dancing and tamales, and everyone's kids running all over the place. Mama dances, laughs, dances. All of a sudden, Mama is sick. I fan her hot face with a paper plate. Too many tamales. But Uncle Nacho says, too many this, and tilts his thumb to his lips. Everybody laughing except me, because I'm wearing the new dress, pink and white with stripes, and new underclothes, and new socks, and the old saddle shoes I wear to school. Brown and white, the kind I get every September because they last long, and they do. My feet scuffed and round, and the heels all crooked that look dumb with this dress, so I just sit. Meanwhile, that boy who is my cousin by first communion or something, asked me to dance, and I can't. Just stuff my feet under the metal folding chair stamped Precious Blood and pick on a wad of brown gum that's stuck beneath the seat. I shake my head no, my feet growing bigger and bigger. Then Uncle Nacho is pulling and pulling my arm, and it doesn't matter how new the dress Mama bought is because my feet are ugly. Until my uncle, who is a liar, says, "You're the prettiest girl here. Will you dance?" But I believe him, and yes, we are dancing, my Uncle Nacho and me, only I don't want to at first. My feet swell big and heavy like plungers, but I drag them across the linoleum floor straight center where Uncle wants to show off the new dance we learned. And Uncle spins me, and my skinny arms bend the way he taught me, and my mother watches, and my little cousins watch, and the boy who is my cousin by first communion watches, and everyone says, "Wow, who are those two who dance like in the movies?" Until I forget that I'm only wearing ordinary shoes, brown and white, the kind my mother buys each year for school. And all I hear is the clapping when the music stops. My uncle and me bow, and he walks me back in my thick shoes to my mother, who is proud to be my mother. All night, the boy who is a man watches me dance. He watched me dance. Hips. I like coffee. I like tea. I like the boys, and the boys like me. Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. One day you wake up and they are there, ready and waiting like a new Buick with the keys in the ignition. Ready to take you where? They're good for holding a baby when you're cooking, Rachel says, turning the jump rope a little quicker. She has no imagination. You need them to dance, says Lucy. If you don't get them, you may turn into a man. Ninny says this, and she believes it. She's this way because of her age. That's right, I add, before Lucy or Rachel can make fun of her. She's stupid, all right, but she is my sister. But most important, hips are scientific, I say, repeating what Alicia already told me. It's the bones that let you know which skeleton was a man's when it was a man, and which was a woman's. They bloom like roses, I continue, because it's obvious I'm the only one who can speak with any authority. I have science on my side. The bones just one day open, just like that. One day you might decide to have kids, and then where are you going to put them? Gotta have room. Bones got to give. But don't have too many or your behind will spread. That's how it is, says Rachel, whose mama is as wide as a boat, and we just laugh. What I'm saying is, who here is ready? You gotta be able to know what to do with hips when you get them, I say, making it up as I go. You gotta know how to walk with hips. Practice, you know, like if half of you wanted to go one way and the other half the other. That's to lullaby it, Ninny says. That's to rock the baby asleep inside you. And then she begins singing, seashells, copper bells, Evie, ivy over. I'm about to tell her that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but the more I think about it, you gotta get the rhythm. And Lucy begins to dance. She has the idea, though she's having trouble keeping her end of the double dutch steady. It's gotta be just so, I say. Not too fast, not too slow. Not too fast, not too slow. We slow the double circles down to a certain speed so Rachel, who has just jumped in, can practice shaking it. I want to dance like Hoochie Coochie, Lucy says. She is crazy. I want to move like Heebie Jeebie, I say, picking up on the cue. I want to be Tahiti or meringue or electricity or tremblique. Yes, tremblique. That's a good one. And then it's Rachel who starts it. Skip, skip, snake in your hips, wiggle around and break your lip. Lucy waits a minute before her turn. She's thinking. Then she begins. The waitress with the big fat hips, who pays the rent with taxi tips, says nobody in town will kiss her on the lips because she looks like Christopher Columbus. Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. She misses on maybe so. I take a little while before my turn, take a breath and dive in. Some are skinny, like chicken lips. Some are baggy, like soggy Band-Aids after you get out of the bathtub. I don't care what kind I get, just as long as I get hips. Everybody getting into it now, except Nenny, who is still humming, not a girl, not a boy, just a little baby. She's like that. When the two arcs open wide like jaws, Ninny jumps in across from me, the rope ticking, the little gold earrings our mama gave her for her first Holy Communion bouncing. She is the color of a bar of naphtha laundry soap. She is like the little brown piece left at the end of the wash. The hard little bone, my sister. Her mouth opens. She begins. My mother and your mother were washing clothes. My mother punched your mother right in the nose. What color blood came out? Not that old song, I say. You gotta use your own song. Make it up, you know? But she doesn't get it, or won't. It's hard to say which. The rope is turning, turning, turning. Engine number 9, running down Chicago line. If the train runs off the track, do you want your money back? Do you want your money back? Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. I can tell Lucy and Rachel are disgusted, but they don't say anything because she's my sister. Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. Nunny, I say, but she doesn't hear me. She is too many light years away. She is in a world we don't belong to anymore. Nenny. Going. Y-E-S spells yes, and out you go. The first job. It wasn't as if I didn't want to work. I did. I had even gone to the Social Security office the month before to get my Social Security number. I needed money. The Catholic high school cost a lot, and Papa said nobody went to public school unless you wanted to turn out bad. I thought I'd find an easy job, the kind other kids had, working in the dime store, or maybe a hot dog stand. And though I hadn't started looking yet, I thought I might the week after next. But when I came home that afternoon, all wet because Tito had pushed me into the open water hydrant, only I had sort of let him, Mama called me in the kitchen before I could even go and change, and Aunt Lala was sitting there drinking her coffee with a spoon. Aunt Lala said she found a job for me at the Peter Pan Photo Finishers on North Broadway where she worked, and how old was I, and to show up tomorrow saying I was 1 year older, and that was that. So the next morning, I put on the navy blue dress that made me look older, and borrowed money for lunch and bus fare because Aunt Lala said I wouldn't get paid till the next Friday. And I went in and saw the boss of the Peter Pan Photo Finishers on North Broadway where Aunt Lala worked, and lied about my age like she told me to. And sure enough, I started that same day. In my job, I had to wear white gloves. I was supposed to match negatives with their prints. Just look at the picture and look for the same one on the negative strip, put it in the envelope, and do the next one. That's all. I didn't know where these envelopes were coming from or where they were going. I just did what I was told. It was real easy, and I guess I wouldn't have minded it except that you got tired after a while, and I didn't know if I could sit down or not, and then I started sitting down only when the two ladies next to me did. After a while, they started to laugh and came up to me and said I could sit when I wanted to, and I said I knew. When lunchtime came, I was scared to eat alone in the company lunchroom with all those men and ladies looking, so I ate real fast standing in one of the washroom stalls and had lots of time left over, so I went back to work early. But then break time came, and not knowing where else to go, I went into the coat room because there was a bench there. I guess it was the time for the night shift or middle shift to arrive because a few people came in and punched the time clock, and an older Oriental man said hello, and we talked for a while about mine just starting, and he said we could be friends next time to go in the lunchroom and sit with him, and I felt better. He had nice eyes, and I didn't feel so nervous anymore. Then he asked if I knew what day it was, and I said I didn't. And he said it was his birthday. Would I please give him a birthday kiss? I thought I would because he was so old, and just as I was about to put my lips on his cheek, he grabs my face with both hands and kisses me hard on the mouth and doesn't let go. Papa who wakes up tired in the dark. Your abuelito is dead, Papa says early one morning in my room. Está muerto. And then, as if he just heard the news himself, crumples like a coat and cries. My brave Papa cries. I have never seen my Papa cry and don't know what to do. I know he will have to go away, that he will take a plane to Mexico, all the uncles and aunts will be there, and they will have a black and white photo taken in front of the tomb with flowers shaped like spears in a white vase, because this is how they send the dead away in that country. Because I am the oldest, my father has told me first, and now it's my turn to tell the others. I will have to explain why we can't play. I will have to tell them to be quiet today. My Papa, his thick hands and thick shoes, who wakes up tired in the dark, who combs his hair with water, drinks his coffee, and is gone before we wake. Today is sitting on my bed. And I think if my own Papa died, what would I do? I hold my Papa in my arms. I hold and hold and hold him. Born bad. Most likely I will go to hell, and most likely I deserve to be there. My mother says I was born on an evil day and prays for me. Lucy and Rachel pray too, for ourselves and for each other, because of what we did to Aunt Lupe. Her name was Guadalupe, and she was pretty like my mother, dark, good to look at, in her Joan Crawford dress and swimmer's legs, Aunt Lupe of the photographs. But I knew her sick from the disease that would not go, her legs bunched under the yellow sheets, the bones gone limp as worms, the yellow pillow, the yellow smell, the bottles and spoons, her head thrown back like a thirsty lady, my aunt, the swimmer. Hard to imagine her legs once strong, the bones hard and parting water, clean sharp strokes, not bent and wrinkled like a baby, not drowning under the sticky yellow light. Second floor rear apartment. The naked light bulb. The high ceilings. The light bulb always burning. I don't know who decides who deserves to go bad. There was no evil in her birth. No wicked curse. One day, I believe she was swimming, and the next day, she was sick. It might have been the day that gray photograph was taken. It might have been the day she was holding Cousin Tachi and baby Frank. It might have been the moment she pointed to the camera for the kids to look, and they wouldn't. Maybe the sky didn't look the day she fell down. Maybe God was busy. It could be true she didn't dive right one day and hurt her spine. Or maybe the story that she fell very hard from a high step stool, like Tachi said, is true. But I think diseases have no eyes. They pick with a dizzy finger anyone, just anyone. Like my aunt, who happened to be walking down the street one day in her Joan Crawford dress and her funny felt hat with the black feather, cousin Tachi in one hand, baby Frank in the other. Sometimes you get used to the sick, and sometimes the sickness, if it's there too long, gets to seem normal. This is how it was with her, and maybe this is why we chose her. It was a game, that's all. It was the game we played every afternoon, ever since that day one of us invented it. I can't remember who. I think it was me. You had to pick somebody. You had to think of someone everybody knew, someone you could imitate, and everyone else would have to guess who it was. It started out with famous people, Wonder Woman, the Beatles, Marilyn Monroe. But then somebody thought it would be better if we changed the game a little. If we pretended we were Mr. Benny or his wife Blanca or Ruthie or anybody we knew. I don't know why we picked her. Maybe we were bored that day. Maybe we got tired. We liked my aunt. She listened to our stories. She always asked us to come back. Lucy, me, Rachel. I hated to go there alone. The 6 blocks to the dark apartment, second floor rear building where sunlight never came, and what did it matter? My aunt was blind by then. She never saw the dirty dishes in the sink. She couldn't see the ceilings dusty with flies, the ugly maroon walls, the bottles and sticky spoons. I can't forget the smell, like sticky capsules filled with jelly. My aunt, a little oyster, a little piece of meat on an open shell for us to look at. Hello, hello, as if she had fallen into a well. I took my library books to her house. I read her stories. I liked the book The Water Babies. She liked it too. I never knew how sick she was until that day I tried to show her one of the pictures in the book. A beautiful color picture of the water babies swimming in the sea. I held the book up to her face. I can't see it, she said. I'm blind. Then I was ashamed. She listened to every book, every poem I read her. One day, I read her one of my own. I came very close. I whispered it into the pillow. I want to be like the waves of the sea, like the clouds in the wind, but I'm me. One day I'll jump out of my skin. I'll shake the sky like 100 violins. That's nice. That's very good, she said in her tired voice. You just remember to keep writing, Esperanza. You must keep writing. It will keep you free. And I said yes. But at that time, I didn't know what she meant. The day we played the game, we didn't know she was going to die. We pretended with our heads thrown back, our arms limp and useless, dangling like the dead. We laughed the way she did. We talked the way she talked, the way blind people talk without moving their head. We imitated the way you had to lift her head a little so she could drink water. She sucked it up slow out of a green tin cup. The water was warm and tasted like metal. Lucy laughed, Rachel too. We took turns being her. We screamed in the weak voice of a parrot for Tachi to come and wash those dishes. It was easy. We didn't know. She'd been dying such a long time, we forgot. Maybe she was ashamed. Maybe she was embarrassed it took so many years. The kids who wanted to be kids instead of washing dishes and ironing their papa's shirts, and the husband who wanted a wife again. And then she died, my aunt who listened to my poems. And then we began to dream the dreams. Elenita, cards, palm, water. Elenita, witch woman, wipes the table with a rag because Ernie, who is feeding the baby, spilled Kool-Aid. She says, "Take that crazy baby out of here and drink your Kool-Aid in the living room. Can't you see I'm busy?" Ernie takes the baby into the living room where Bugs Bunny is on TV. "Good lucky you didn't come yesterday," she says. "The planets were all mixed up yesterday." Her TV is color and big, and all her pretty furniture made out of red fur like the teddy bears they give away in carnivals. She has them covered with plastic. I think this is on account of the baby. "Yes, it's a good thing," I say. But we stay in the kitchen because this is where she works. The top of the refrigerator busy with holy candles, some lit, some not, red and green and blue, a plaster saint and a dusty Palm Sunday cross, and a picture of the voodoo hand taped to the wall. "Get the water," she says. I go to the sink and pick the only clean glass there, a beer mug that says the beer that made Milwaukee famous, and fill it up with hot water from the tap. Then put the glass of water on the center of the table, the way she taught me. "Look in it. Do you see anything?" But all I see are bubbles. "You see anybody's face?" "Nope, just bubbles," I say. "That's okay." And she makes the sign of the cross over the water 3 times and then begins to cut the cards. They're not like ordinary playing cards, these cards. They're strange, with blonde men on horses and crazy baseball bats with thorns, golden goblets, sad-looking women dressed in old-fashioned dresses, and roses that cry. There is a good Bugs Bunny cartoon on TV. I know, I saw it before and recognized the music and wish I could go sit on the plastic couch with Ernie and the baby, but now my fortune begins. My whole life on that kitchen table, past, present, future. Then she takes my hand and looks into my palm, closes it, closes her eyes too. "Do you feel it? Feel the cold?" "Yes," I lie, "but only a little." "Good," she says. "Los espíritus are here," and begins. "This card, the one with the dark man and the horse, this means jealousy, and this one sorrow. Here a pillar of bees, and this a mattress of luxury. You will go to a wedding soon. And did you lose an anchor of arms? Yes, an anchor of arms. It's clear that's what that means." "What about a house?" I say, because that's what I came for. "Ah, yes, a home in the heart. I see a home in the heart." "Is that it?" "That's what I see," she says, then gets up because the kids are fighting. Elenita gets up to hit and then hug them. She really does love them, only sometimes they are rude. She comes back and can tell I'm disappointed. She's a witch woman and knows many things. If you get a headache, rub a cold egg across your face. Need to forget an old romance? Take a chicken's foot, tie it with red string, spin it over your head 3 times, then burn it. Bad spirits keeping you awake? Sleep next to a holy candle for 7 days, then on the 8th day, spit. And lots of other stuff. Only now, she can tell I'm sad. "Baby, I'll look again if you want me to." And she looks again into the cards, palm, water, and says, "Uh-huh, a home in the heart. I was right." Only I don't get it. "A new house, a house made of heart. I'll light a candle for you." All this for $5 I give her. "Thank you, and goodbye, and be careful of the evil eye. Come back again on a Thursday when the stars are stronger, and may the Virgin bless you," and shuts the door.